Crime in Chicago is at a 4-year low so far in 2019. New figures released by CPD show between January and the end of July, the city saw 282 murders. Now that's down 11% from the same time last year. Shootings, we also spoke to Superintendent Eddie Johnson yesterday about the trend and his plans to keep Chicago safe. Superintendent Johnson, thank you so much for being here. What do these numbers actually say about the level of crime in Chicago?
So what it says is we're still seeing a steady decline, but we're, of course, not where we want to be. But when you think about where we were in 2016, we've had double-digit reductions every year since then, and now this year, year-to-date, we're down another 11%. So that's a good thing, but we're still not at the level we want to be. So it's not cause for celebration, but it is certainly progress.
Superintendent Johnson, how does the department plan to keep that reduction going and keep that pace?
Well, you know, we have to still invest in the technologies that we have been. We have a new initiative starting up pretty soon called GunStat, and what that is us tracking a gun offender from the time he's arrested all the way through the sentencing process to see how effective our judicial system is. And then, of course, we have to continue to build those relationships in neighborhoods with minority people.
Yeah, we are, of course, glad to see. I don't want to say happy, you know, but we're glad to see that these numbers are coming down. However, I'm sure, just as you do, the city braces every weekend for what's it going to be like. What are the numbers going to look like on Monday? What are the talks that have been happening behind the scenes? What have those been like as far as addressing crime, specifically in these summer months?
So, you know, the summer months are always more challenging, not because it's the weather is a driver of it. It's just simply because there are more people out during the summer months. So, you know, those beefs that people have had over the winter time, you know, in the summer months, of course, they get to see them. So behind the scenes, we talk to our sister agencies in the city about how they can provide access to the police department, because, you know, crime is a complex issue, and it's not just about policing. You have to address the root causes of crime if you want to see it go down. You know, so the economic issues associated with it, mental health challenges, you know, educational opportunities, job opportunities, all that stuff matters. But at the end of the day, you know, parents have to step up and be parents. You know, we have to do our part, but we need all the folks in the community to step up and do their part.
Yeah, and Cook County Board, I want to address this letter from Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, sharply worded letter to the mayor addressing crime in Chicago and why she thinks crime is the way it is. Do you have a reaction to that?
No, you know, not directly. But I will say this about that particular letter. You know, you've never heard me blame judges or prosecutors or anyone like that for our violent crime. The people that should be blamed are the people pulling the triggers. What you will hear me say is that the judges, the prosecutors, and the police department have to do better in partnering up to do what we can on our end of, because we all have a role to play in reducing crime. But I think that public safety is an issue that all of us take seriously and passionately.
Yeah, I got to say, as a citizen, it's not fun to see just kind of the animosity between our leaders, because we want to know that the city and the county are working together to get this issue done. Is this a personal thing, or is this affecting the work in any way?
Well, no, it's certainly not personal for me. All I want to do is make Chicago one of the safest big cities in this country. And again, all of us have a role to play in it. So you'll never hear me blame someone else for the violence in this city, except the people that pull the trigger. So to your point, though, we do have to work together to help resolve this issue. One
more thing I want to address with crime real quick. I'm interested in knowing how things have changed under Mayor Lori Lightfoot's leadership, especially when it comes to your crime strategy.
Well, you know what? Of course, we're still in our infancy stages with the new administration, so they're getting to know the police department, and certainly we're getting to know them better. She and I had already had a relationship. I've known her since I became superintendent. But I think one of the things that she's doing is holding our sister agencies in the city more accountable and pushing them up more to the forefront. We always worked with them, but now they're being pushed up to the forefront to provide the access to the police department that we need.
Okay. You know, I always give you the hard questions. You and the department are working so hard, Superintendent Johnson. But I do have a tough question, because I'm looking for specifics, because as a citizen, it's still frustrating to see the numbers, as I'm sure you're very frustrated as well.
Right.
Because we just want to feel better. We want to feel different as we're just going through our everyday lives. So I looked up specifics, and I know that you recently talked about this in your Sun-Times article that came out at the end of July. And it says that you guys were using collaboration and flooding the zone. That was crime fighting, collaboration, and flooding the zone. That was a strategy that you're using.
Right.
What does that mean exactly?
So flooding the zone is simply we identify our most challenging areas in the city, like on a particular weekend. And what we try to do is put more visible resources in those areas so that people feel more safe. And you know, the honest truth of the matter is when bad guys see more police presence, they tend not to commit the crimes that they want to commit. So that's what that essentially means.
Okay, heavily saturating the area. Thank you.
I want to pivot a little bit here and talk about Lollapalooza this weekend. Major music festival,
Yes.
going to be lots of people out there. Grant Park is going to be very, very busy.
Yes.
And of course, we had a tragedy in California over the weekend. How has that changed your security plans, if at all?
You know, it really doesn't change it, but it does make us more vigilant and more mindful that those types of things could happen. So what I'll tell you is this, you know, without giving the playbook away, you'll see a huge uniform presence out there, you know, but what you won't see is the significant number of undercover assets we'll have out there. We have, I think, about 400 cameras out there watching things, and then we'll have some assets up in the sky watching what's going on. So, you know, you can never guarantee 100% safety, but you have to be prepared in the event something does occur. So what I would say to people, there's no place in that park that you'll be more than a few feet away from a uniform officer.
Oh, wow.
So if you see something, just tap them on the shoulder and let them know what's going on.
And are you all partnering with other police agencies?
Of course, you know, we have our local partners, you know, state police, Cook County, you know, federal partners that we partner with for large events like this.